You see the agenda in front of you. I'll need a motion to approve, please.
Move to approve the agenda. Second.
Laverne,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Dwayne.
Yes.
Kim.
Yes. Okay, FY16 budget presentation, Mr. Porter.
Well, you have a green handout in your packet. Just a couple of slides there to go through with you. The FY16 certified budget calls for a tax rate of $8 and basically $8.90 a thousand taxable valuation. It's about a 25-cent decrease from the previous year. The next page, tax rates to support the FY16 budget, is kind of broken out into the number of dollars and the tax rate that needs to fund that. I would tell you that there's a couple there that are out of sync from historical budgets, and one is the dropout prevention of $4,215. That is due to a change in the code that any money that you have in reserves for that has to be spent before you would levy any more. So that's an oddity. That's usually probably around, I'm going to say 375, 400,000, typically in a typical year, somewhere around there, just to give you a little bit of an idea. We are levying less in management by design this year, simply because we feel it's necessary to spend down that balance, so that's in management. Certainly, as you notice, that there is not any money budgeted for debt service. So in FY16, there will not be a debt service levy or a debt service fund, because the bond indebtedness will be paid off through revenue bonds and sales tax revenue. So, any questions on that slide before I begin, or continue, I should say?
That's just half the instructional support, basically, close to it.
Yeah, pretty close. The next steps is for the board to have discussion on the FY16 budget. Keep in mind that you can only lower the tax rate that was published. We do have proof of publication here. It was published on March 16th in the Daily Times Herald. After the board has the discussion, I would recommend you open it for public hearing. After hearing comments, close the public hearing and board action on the certified budget. After the board acts on it, then the district will follow the necessary paperwork with the county auditor and Department of Management. So, with that, I'll turn it over to the board.
Anybody have any comments, concerns, questions?
I don't know if there's much you can do until the legislature gets the SSA done.
You will undoubtedly have a lower tax rate than what was published.
Yeah, you can't do it until they're
But you
done.
don't know what that will be until you have that number, because that will change a lot of things in the formula. You would think it was just the opposite. This budget was figured on 4% SSA, because that's what generated the highest property tax rate. And when you publish, you have to publish the highest. We ran all of the numbers from 0 to 4. And you would think it would be just the opposite, but it's not in our case.
Was it yesterday the Senate agreed to go to
275.
275.
I heard it, do something, 275 or 675.
House said no.
Threw it out. They weren't even interested. I thought that would have been an absolute compromise.
Yeah. Move halfway the other way or something.
Unless they're playing the game to go to 2. Don't know.
Some effort drive.
On one side.
The other one, too.
All right. I don't have anything.
One thing about it, our rate is lower than last year. But I'm just gonna warn the taxpayers, after everybody got that nice letter in the mail yesterday, it's not going, because your taxes aren't gonna go down. So, and that's not by our design, that's by powers above us, so. We did our part. We can't handle the rest of it, so. Sure, we got the letter about what they're housing, yes, so I don't need to go any farther, so. Any other comments? Okay, then at 12:06, we're gonna go into a public hearing for the FY15 certified budget. So are there any comments from the public?
I've got some questions.
Go ahead, Virginia.
Well, yeah, your levy on tax on property went down, but you've got a 2.6% on that thing that came in the paper, increase.
We did.
Okay, now Virginia, we go through this every year, right?
No?
Yeah, we do. That thing in the paper is nothing but an estimate. That's not what's gonna actually be spent.
No, this is taxes levied on property.
That was in the paper, published in the
Yes.
paper. That's not what's spent, that's nothing but an estimate. And you're gonna estimate some of those high, you're gonna estimate your expenditures high, and your revenues low. Because your building capacity is all you're doing with that budget. In 2 years, look at what the actuals are. The certified budget has nothing to do with the dollars that are spent in the district. There's 4 categories that the board must certify. Instruction, non-instructional, which is food service, support services, and other, which happens to deal with the facilities, debt service, things of that nature. And in fact, in the budget that is published, there is a double accounting because we're showing a transfer of $600 and some thousand out of one account and transfer in of $616,000, it's for the revenue bonds. That's accounted for twice in there. The other areas, we're estimating those. We're estimating what those expenses are. That's all that is an estimate. Has nothing to do with the line item budget or what's actually going to be spent. Your words, not mine, that's all but a shell.
Yeah, it's a show. But you're gonna levy that much. Whether you spend it or not, you're gonna levy it. Because when you take this down to the courthouse, they're gonna figure this is how much you want.
We're levying $7.8 million. That's what we're levying.
No, my question was on the increase, the 2.8%
Right.
increase. Okay, and you can lower it if that 4% don't go through?
Have to lower it.
You have to?
Has to. The department, once we submit this to the state, the rest will be done by the Department of Management when the taxes are certified by the county. And by then, they'll have, the final aid levy usually comes out in late May or early June. And that'll have the final numbers on it, and that'll have to have the number of what the state supplemental aid is. That will affect this. Now, it probably isn't gonna affect it by, 20 cents, but it'll affect it probably by anywhere from 4 to 7 cents.
And I assume that the 4% got kicked off because of what revenues are coming in. Aren't they short on?
If you read the revenue estimating conference closely, revenues aren't being shorted. They're growing, they'll show you they're growing about 6%.
But
That's what the revenue, that's what the revenue estimate
That's
says.
what they said, yes.
That's right.
But the actual coming into the treasury is not coming in. And so they aren't gonna have as much budget to spend as they had anticipated.
Well, I had an email from the legislature this morning that says they have $400 million in reserve and they have another $700 million in rainy day fund. So you tell me where the money is.
Yeah, but
You
that's-
tell me what they can
That's
and
by
can't
law,
afford.
they're supposed to have that 100% filled.
They haven't before.
No,
They don't worry about the law of setting supplemental state aid. So don't tell me about the law at the legislative level. It doesn't hold water with me. They like the laws that they like, and the other ones they just push off to the side.
And you like the ones that affect the schools. That's
Those are the
all right.
ones I'm gonna lobby for, yes.
Yes, that's right.
That's my job.
On your income taxes, on that, is it ISL? Yeah. You got 3% and 3% on property tax. And the property tax, you can tell by what the valuations are. What do you base the income tax part of that on? And they're the same,
It's on income tax paid,
like last year.
yeah. When people file their 2015 income tax, that's when they'll pay that.
Okay, and if that's higher, then you'll get more in.
Mm-mm.
Get 3%.
It's calculated by the formula.
If it's lower, then you get less.
Well, from one year to the next, the amount of income tax paid in the Carroll Community School District dropped $2 million. So, putting any type of levy on income surtax, in my opinion, is a risk.
I'll
There's
agree.
nothing that's more stable, nothing that's more secure than local property tax,
Yes,
period.
and there's a lot of it goes out of Carroll County, right up front. Like over $29 million.
I'm not a supervisor, I don't know that.
No, it's a combination of all the taxing
Well,
bodies.
that's,
Schools, cities, and counties are the top three. Well, I don't expect you're gonna change this anyway.
it's gonna change.
Hmm?
Might not change the way you want it to change, but it's gonna change. It's
No,
gonna change
but
as
you're
soon as
gonna,
the
you're
legislature
gonna
sets
approve
the
this,
SSA.
this budget. Certified it.
It's the job of this board, not mine. My job is to recommend it.
You'll recommend it.
I will. I wouldn't be here today if we wouldn't.
Okay, any other comments? Then we'll close the public hearing at 12:14. Okay, now we can move into,
Need a motion to, no, just need a motion to approve the certified budget.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
right? Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
Okay. So I'll need a motion to approve the FY16 certified budget, please.
I move to approve the FY16 certified budget for $8.89865.
Dan,
Yes.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Laverne.
Okay, on to number 6, 2015-16 cooperative sharing athletic programs.
Those, that paperwork has been filed, and they inadvertently left those off the March meeting when you approved the rest of the sharing one. So I would ask that you approve those two for girls and boys cross country and girls and boys tennis for the 15-16 school year.
Are there any questions for Mr. Cordes on that? We need a motion, please.
Move to approve the cooperative sharing athletic programs as stated.
I'll second.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Laverne,
Yes.
Dan.
Yes.
Okay, moving on, number 7, ratify the 2015-2016 CEA contract.
You have in your materials a tentative agreement to ratify a contract with the Carroll Education Association. This is a 2-year agreement. It will be in effect from, if approved, it will be in effect from July 1st, 2015 through June 30th of 2017. cost of the agreement for 2015-16 school year is a total package of $3.75 or $357,059. Includes a step advancement on the salary schedule of $430 on the base, and the longevity bonus would be $750. The 2016-17 school year will be a total package of 4%. There will be a meeting prior to that year on, depending on, when we say total package, we're calculating in FICA, IPERS, health insurance, and salary, everything. And so depending, the health insurance increase dictates the rest of it. So once that number is known, typically it'll be Gary and I and a board member or two that sits on the negotiation committee, and we'll have a meeting to get that, what I would call allocated out to, on the salary schedule. And then you'll know how much is going on the base and things of that nature. And we agreed to make sure that that was done and reflect some type of equity among the step increases and longevity to be fair to everybody. You have the costing on the back side of your sheet. I would tell you that as far as my knowledge goes, this is the first year that we've ever had a 2-year agreement with the CEA. We've had 2-year agreements with the CESA, but to my knowledge, there's never been a 2-year agreement with the CEA. But that goes back 15 years. Questions?
If this is the tentative one, when is it permanent?
Well, each body has to approve a tentative agreement.
Okay.
And then there isn't the teachers have ratified. Now it's the board's opportunity to ratify the contract. Once it's ratified, then then the next step is just to give you a copy of the
Okay.
agreement. This is, I guess, what I'm saying, Laverne, is this is a tentative agreement until the board ratifies it.
Okay.
This is a tentative agreement that was reached between the two bargaining parties during the bargaining process.
Dwayne, you and I sat on that. Do you have any comments?
The only thing I would just, Rob, if you want to comment in for the other board members, in the event the legislature doesn't come through, we have no supplemental state aid, how that will impact the budget, not impact the budget, but as far as any responses to not having any supplemental state aid. Maybe contrast this just, they ballparked at 1.5% or 2% or something, how that, just so we have a bit of a gauge is what would be the bad downside impact of
Sure.
state aid versus if there is some.
There's a couple ways we will handle that locally. Is that we'll have some positions that will need to be filled as a result of the teacher leadership and compensation program. We won't fill those until we know what that supplemental state aid is. Okay, so that way we'll know, what we can afford, what we can't afford. The other thing is we've had a resignation. I know of another one that's coming in a position that we may not fill. We know we're not going to fill one of the people that moved into an instructional coach position. So there is a reduction, if you will. There may be another 1 or 2 of those positions that we don't fill that way. And so the other thing is you also have to remember you'll levy $420,000 in cash reserve. That's for that purpose if you so need it. That's cash. So that can help lessen that blow, if you will, on that for a year. And so you're also, you're also bringing in practically $1 million in new revenue that you haven't had before. Not that, some of that isn't gonna be needed to fill holes from previously, but between that and the cash reserve, and any other reductions that may be made, that's certainly not out.
I mean, those cash reserves got a chance to come in because of the spending authority going up.
Right. Well, it went up, and the other issue is that you can only have 20% of your previous year's expenditures in reserves. If you have more than that in reserves, then you're not allowed to levy any cash,
We couldn't levy last year, right?
or the year before.
Right, year before, okay.
Now, because we've had to eat into that reserves a little bit for the previous 2 years, we weren't able to levy all of what we overspend in special education. Typically, if you run a special education deficit, the code allows you to go back and recoup that expenditure through cash reserves the next year. Well, if you recall, our special ed deficit was 600,000 plus. So you weren't allowed to get all of that simply because your reserves were at a level that didn't allow you to. So they won't. The most I think we could have levied in cash reserve was like 425 or 428. So that was been the very maximum, and we just didn't. We were, I guess, playing with the tax rate a little bit, you might say.
Yeah.
Well, I'll just make a comment. I know that was a concern of Dwayne's and mine also, if for some reason the state would make it zero, and I can't believe that would happen. Only because I don't think Brian Best and Mr. Sigebar would be able to come back to their hometowns, because as everybody knows, education is very important, and very important for the governor, and they're not gonna allow that to happen, so, but I do, Dwayne,
I just wanted.
I have a concern, oh, absolutely.
Just, I'm glad to hear that,
Yep,
even
absolutely.
if it went to the worst extreme.
Worst case scenario.
We have a backup.
Yeah.
We have a
we're
backup,
gonna be
so
all right.
we'll be all right. Do we like that if that would happen? No, but we can get through it, and that's because of what the board has done in the past to keep us in a great financial position so that we don't, get too far behind in some cases, so. I appreciate the work of our whole group, and then the CEA this year. Getting a 2-year contract was big. They worked very well with us. I appreciate how they reacted to things this year. And getting the 2-year, like Mr. Cordes said, I've been here for 16 years, and we've never had a 2-year contract before. So, I definitely appreciate their help, and it went very well this year, so. I think it's a good package, it's fair for both. I think when the dust settles and you see what all the other school districts settle at the end of the year, that we're gonna be so close that, yeah, we could be a little bit above, or we could be a little bit below, but we're gonna be in the playing field. It's not like we're gonna, be the #1 star in Iowa to be at the top of the list, because it's our contracts over the past 16 years, we've always been right at the state average. So, and that's because of hard work by both groups for the last 16 years. So, and I've been doing this for the last 8 years. So, it's very fair for both parties. And if there aren't any more comments from other board members, then I would say we need a motion on it, please.
I'm gonna go ahead and move that we ratify the 2015-16 CDA contract.
Might as well add in
What do you have to do?
16,
16, 17.
Oh, yeah, and 16, 17, because it would be a 2-year.
Right.
Correct.
I'll second.
Kim,
Yes.
Laverne,
Abstain?
Dan,
Yes.
Dwayne.
Yes.
Okay.
We're not used to it, we're second year.
No.
Okay, on to personnel. Mr. Cordes?
Well, you
we
see-
need to go
You see the resignations, and we will need to approve the resignations,
Okay.
because you don't have a consent agenda.
Okay.
Kayla Kaufman from dance team, Colton Hummer from assistant volleyball, and Miranda Sleifert, is that how you pronounce that name? Sleifert.
Thank you.
From her special ed TA position at Fairview. So let's take those first, and then we'll move on.
Any questions for Mr. Cordes on those? Otherwise, I'll need a motion, please.
I'll move to accept the three resignations here as stated in the agenda.
Laverne,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes. Okay, on to recommendations.
Recommending Doug Lighting for the spring driver's education instructor position. If approved, Doug would receive $5,991. It's really what we would call the winter-spring session, and probably should have had that to the board a couple months ago, to be honest, and I forgot, it was my fault. I'm also recommending Corey Jeske for the summer's driver education position, $5,991, and recommending Kurt Christensen for the summer driver's education coordinator position for $7,075.
Sue, you want to take the board?
Yeah, I am recommending Kim Shields for the instructional coach position, and that would be for Fairview and Adams as part of the teacher leadership and compensation plan for the district.
Any questions for either of these two on any of these hires? Otherwise, I'll need a motion to approve, please.
I move to accept the recommendations, the three driver's Edmonds from Rob Porter's and Kim Shields from Seabrook.
Dan,
Yes.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Kim,
Yes.
Laverne.
Yes.
Okay, one volunteer position.
Tammy McKenzie's recommending Jane Gorman as the volunteer with the agricultural education program. The approval of volunteers recommended.
There's not any questions on that. I need
That's
a
a
motion.
chaperone type position,
Yes.
correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
helps with various events.
Yep.
I need a motion, please.
I'll move to approve Jalen Gorman as the ag instructor program volunteer.
Laverne,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Dwayne,
Yes.
Kim.
Yes. Okay, is there anything else brought before the board?
Yeah, update on, should have had a new agenda in your folder.
I did. It's not on mine.
Not on mine either.
Huh?
No, I got two of the same.
It's on this one.
Mine doesn't have it either.
No, we had this one in mind.
It's on the one on the table, isn't it?
This is the one I got in the mail.
Huh?
No,
No.
It's not on there?
It's online.
It is online? I thought you said no, Laverne.
Yeah, it's online, but not in the one that you handed out.
Well, if it's online, it was published 24 hours in advance.
Okay.
That's all for that.
Yeah, that's all right. Well, I knew this.
We're good.
All right, we're good. All right, moving on.
There isn't gonna be any board action anyway, but,
Mhm.
just to update you, we had a pre-construction, meeting with the contractor Tuesday. How many of you have ever either remodeled a house or built a new house? Yep.
One too many
Yeah.
times.
Has that always gone real smooth? No hiccups, no problems, no bumps in the road?
Virginia, you're nodding your head, yes.
yeah, it went fine, just the way I wanted it.
Your way, how about yours?
Yeah.
Oh, well, the other day, we didn't have a bump in the road, I wouldn't call it a bump in the road, I'd call it a pothole. But it's certainly not a serious one that we can work with. You know, we always anticipated the gym and the office would kind of be worked on simultaneously beginning this spring and into the summer and into the school year. And then next summer, we anticipated the walls and doors on the north end to be installed and have it done then. Because of the precast walls that are gonna be used in the office and on the gymnasium, that causes a problem because the contractor can't get those until mid to late September. So if we go with that plan, what you're gonna see is the footings dug, this summer and poured, and then we're gonna be at a standstill, until September when the precast, walls come in, and then we'll get busy and get after it. The contractor would prefer to, do that this summer, do those footings and things, but also get to work on the north end of things. And so that's what you have on this timeline here, as you'll see, Unit C is the alternate, it's a 73-day project. They have an estimated start date of 5/20 of 15 and a completion of 8/28 of 15. Nick was betting on the August 31st start date, obviously. So that work would be done this summer as opposed to the summer of 16. Then if you look at the bottom of page 1, you'll see that the gym is a 201-day project beginning in June of 15 and being completed in March of 16. And then the administration office is beginning in June of 15, the end of June of 15, and being completed around in December sometime of 15. And so, you know, there would be a chance, if everything went according to Hoyle, that the district would move into those offices over a winter break or something like that would be a possibility. But the first page is kind of a timeline, if you will, of how the contractor would see that the alternate bid being done, which is the walls and doors and such. The second page then, I just highlighted a couple things on here just to point out to you. The second page is the office and entryway. You can see the whole problem with this, or the whole issue, I should say, of this is that 80, line 80 there of precast delivery is until September 21st. That's what's driving this whole thing. And then they would again have that administration office and entryway done sometime around the 7th of December would be the target date for that. Third page is the gymnasium and the timeline and layout for that. Again, the precast delivery is the 21st of September. Then they get going with the walls and panels. And then the completion would be March 9th of 16 would be kind of the layout. So unless the board has some objection to that and wants to wait for the classrooms and do them in summer of 16, I told the contractor that I'd get back to him today. He's also going to try to do what he can to move that timeline up a little bit from that August 28th date. So that will put us a very tight timeline. In fact, the board may need to look at the calendar, and since we know when you can start school now, you might want to look at when we should start school as a result of this project. Whether you want to be on the 24th, the week of the 24th sometime, wait till the 31st. One thing that we have learned over time is both from some parents of young children as well as teachers of young children like to start in the middle of the week, so it's not such a long week for younger kids. But you could accomplish that goal if you started later in the week of the 24th. That's just throwing that out there.
One question I would have is, can the school be ready for them to come in on the 20th? As far as having whatever needs to be moved out?
Well, if you look at that schedule, at that point, a lot of it's going to be the little finish work in those classrooms and things, and so I'm assuming you mean
On the front end, I'm talking
on the front end.
On the front end, whatever we have to do to get.
We'll have to be doing
Stuff out of there.
some revising of coming in and out of the building and pick up and drop off, and we'll use Jeff, I think, has penciled out a plan that he and I and Sue will talk about.
That was
in
so
the
much
future.
computers.
You're talking about the main entrance, or?
No, I'm talking the classrooms, but.
Being ready for
the
the
alternative
20th.
walls, because you obviously gotta move some things to make room for them to get in.
Oh, yeah, I mean, we'll have the stuff moved back.
Yeah,
That
that was
what
my
you mean,
concern, is,
yeah.
is there adequate time for Jeff and the custodians or teachers, whomever, to get stuff out of the way so they can come in and start the
Well,
project?
That'll happen as soon as school's out on that 20th. We'll start moving things. The teacher's responsibility is to box everything up.
Okay.
And then our guys will go in there and start hauling stuff, and most likely to the gym. They've done this before when we put carpet in out there. They've kind of got a system.
Okay.
Don't,
That's
And most of the
adequate
work
time.
they'll start with right away would be demolition out in the outside area, the
Okay.
parking lot, or the playground area.
Yeah.
I thought I was at the other end of the
No, I
camp.
was
You
just
were at the
thinking,
beginning end.
hopefully, as long as
Yeah.
we,
Yeah, I
you
was
know,
on
that
the
day
other
gets
end.
that they're ready to roll, but.
So, how soon do your teachers like to come back?
He's already warned them, they can't walk in the building on August first. They're there, you know what? You would be surprised how many come in July to set up their classrooms. They've been told they can't come back, set up till we're ready for them, so they'll have to be patient.
So then I met with the Fairview teachers Tuesday after school when I learned of this. To me, this was a little bit of a curveball. You know, I didn't think about the precast being delivered that late. You know, I'm not in the construction business. But, so it was a little bit of a curveball to us, you know. I think everybody was planning on having this done in the summer of 16 and having some time to prepare for that and stuff. And well, we still have some time, but it's a shorter window. And so, I started that meeting by asking the teachers, I said, well, how many of you, are gonna enjoy having these walls and doors? There was a lot of them. I said, well, be careful what you wish for, because, that's just the timeline just got moved up, and so, but I think they understand that. And they, you know, like I said, they've been through with the carpeting and project not too long ago. So, Jeff, what do you have to add on this whole thing?
Well, starting on the 20th, basically, we have playground equipment to move. I'll have to be in contact with the playground company that's gonna be doing that, and we have to, like I say, remove preschool playground, and Sue and I had a conversation just a little bit ago, which I wanna talk to the architect and contractor about possibly leaving one of the sections of the playground in place where it, if it's possible for them to work around it to save us expense of moving. It's quite expensive to have that stuff moved and reinstalled, so if we could keep one of the sections in place, it would save us some dollars. But obviously, we'll be moving classroom desks and all that right away once school's out. Playground equipment has to get out of the way, and but like I said, the contractors will be working on demolition on the sidewalks, the playground, they'll be doing dirt work, they'll be constructing a temporary road for the construction access. So they'll be doing a lot of items outside. They won't be getting right into those classrooms to start with, so we'll have, I would say, at least 2 weeks, I would guess, by the time they get ready to actually start.
I
Where's
guess,
the playground's gonna be?
Pardon?
Where's the playground's gonna be next school year?
Well, the preschool will be on the west side of the building by the preschool pod. We're gonna have
Okay.
that, we're moving the preschool to the front, or what I call the front of the building. And then hopefully we kind of keep it, the playground kind of where it's at, but we'll have to move some of it over to maybe the south.
It'll be more, rather than being two sections for the elementary kids, the lower grade level section, if you wanna call it that, is closer to the building, which that one will be where the gym will be located. We're gonna move that to, say, the southeast, so they would be more north and south as
Rather than
opposed to east and
or
west.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think that'll be easy access for kindergarten to come out, instead of coming all the way over to more toward the north playground. But I think we're working on it.
Yeah, we have to verify there's enough space there, but that's kind of the idea.
Okay. I can picture it.
first of all, I mean, nobody has any problem with us continuing on with this project this summer. I didn't think so, but I just wanna clarify that.
We're gonna lose any of the parking?
I know our calendar
Parking
committee's
on the
gonna
south
meet
of the
again,
building, south and east of the
so
building.
we got an option like
Losing
Mr.
any of the
Cordes
parking?
said, and I'm just throwing this
No.
out, just an idea. You know,
We
if
should
you
be
start
looking
like
inside the
August,
playground.
It's where between the two places, the two asphalts.
27th
extended one
on a
into the-
Wednesday, or you got
what
the
used to be
28th?
Like the kindergarten.
Am I saying that? Yeah.
part, kind of
27th
extended in there.
Wednesday.
They might have to
27th would be
chop
a
out
Thursday.
some
Thursday.
yeah,
asphalt there,
a
but
Thursday,
not
start on a
really.
Thursday,
It won't hit
that would
the
give you
front
3 more days to,
near that
So
part.
in between the two pods?
I mean, I was just throwing that out,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
kind of an option.
It's on
Well,
the-
I-
Calendar committee work with
On
it.
the
Yeah,
east.
calendar committee will work with
Now
that,
we have
that's
two
so it all comes
asphalt
back to us.
grounds with the
But,
playground in between them.
I don't think
Into
we need the
next,
whole week, but again, that's
kindergarten
just,
side, a little ways,
No.
but not a near.
but that would give them another,
It's been-
give them the weekend and 3 more days, so. That's just, food for thought.
The money that we were gonna spend on the classroom walls was gonna be delayed a year. Are we just gonna shift the spending? Okay.
It's not gonna matter.
Okay,
Money's money.
I just wanted to verify.
Okay, any other
Good.
questions on that? If there's nothing else brought before the board, I'll need a motion to adjourn, please.
I'll move to adjourn.
A second?
Second.
All in favor?
Okay.
Okay.